Kim Kardashian might be used to headlines, but this time the spotlight is burning hotter than ever, and not for the reason she wants. Imagine walking into one of the most glamorous weddings in the world, ready to remind everyone that you're still the queen of pop culture drama, only to walk out overshadowed, ignored, and replaced by someone you never even saw as competition. That's exactly what's playing out as whispers swirl around Jeff Bezos' wedding, Tom Brady's rumored flings, and Kim's growing frustration with how the story has turned against her. What started as playful gossip has turned into a full-blown feud, and the irony is that it has less to do with Tom himself and more to do with who he chose to pay attention to instead of her. The story first picked up steam at Jeff Bezos' high-profile wedding, where Kim was said to be doing everything in her power to cozy up to Tom Brady. Witnesses claim she was practically glued to his side, laughing a little too loud, leaning a little too close, and making it clear she wanted to be noticed. But the problem? Tom wasn't biting. Instead, he reportedly spent more time chatting with Sydney Sweeney, one of Hollywood's youngest rising stars. For Kim, this was an early humiliation. How do you compete when your every move is being overshadowed by a woman not only half your age, but also the current it girl of the entertainment world? The whispers started there, painting Kim as desperate, and those whispers grew louder when her attempt to spark a connection seemed to fizzle before it even began. Just when Kim thought the embarrassment of Sydney Sweeney might fade into background noise, the real bombshell dropped. Tom wasn't seriously pursuing Sydney at all. It was Sofia Vergara who had caught his eye. Suddenly, the game changed. Unlike Sydney, Sofia wasn't some fleeting Hollywood crush. She was a woman with global recognition, undeniable beauty, and a personality that lit up every room. Reports claimed Tom and Sofia had spent nearly the entire summer together, hopping around Europe, enjoying yacht trips, and making no real effort to hide their chemistry. For Kim, the sting wasn't just about being overlooked. It was about realizing that she was losing ground not to youth, which she could rationalize, but to someone older than her, someone who represented everything she couldn't fake: authenticity, maturity, and natural beauty. Kim's jealousy reportedly skyrocketed when she discovered that Tom and Sofia's connection wasn't just a passing fling, but a summer-long romance. The irony of it all wasn't lost on her. She could wrap her mind around the idea that Tom might chase someone like Sydney Sweeney. After all, youth is a currency Hollywood worships. But Sofia? In Kim's world, it didn't compute. Here was a woman in her 50s, still commanding attention and admiration from one of the most eligible men in the world, while Kim herself, despite her surgeries, trainers, and carefully curated image, couldn't seal the deal. To make matters worse, Sofia was seen as the real thing, a woman who hadn't relied on endless tweaks and filters to hold onto her appeal. That contrast only deepened Kim's insecurities, turning what should have been a harmless rumor into a personal crisis. When Kim feels cornered, history shows she doesn't retreat quietly. Instead, the Kardashian playbook kicks in: plant stories, shift narratives, and stir the pot until public perception bends back in her favor. Sources close to the situation began whispering that Kim's camp was responsible for a slew of strange reports claiming Tom thought Sofia was too old for him. The quotes felt out of place, especially because Tom Brady is famously tight-lipped about his personal life and rarely, if ever, comments on the women he's linked to. The sudden flood of age-related digs at Sofia reeked of strategy rather than authenticity, and it didn't take long before people began connecting the dots back to Kim. What might have been intended as a way to make Sofia look insecure ended up having the opposite effect. It made Kim look vindictive, manipulative, and unable to accept that she wasn't the center of the story. Of course, this wasn't the first time Kim had been linked to Tom. Months before, she was spotted near his property under the guise of asking questions about real estate, but sources quickly claimed those meetups turned into more intimate dinners. It wasn't lost on anyone that these rumors flared up right after Kanye told her she should aim for Tom Brady instead of Pete Davidson. It almost seemed as though Kim was following her ex-husband's advice, hoping that being linked to a respected, legendary athlete could rehabilitate her image. But despite the cozy dinners and endless speculation, Tom never claimed her publicly. And for Kim, who thrives on validation and public recognition, his silence was deafening. If there's one chapter in Kim's post-divorce life that continues to haunt her, it's Pete Davidson. What began as a rebound quickly turned into a spectacle that chipped away at her image. While Kanye once elevated her to a cultural icon, Pete dragged her into tabloid chaos that made her look unserious and reckless. From introducing him to her children to flaunting the relationship despite public skepticism, Kim leaned into the storyline hard, but the outcome wasn't what she expected. Instead of sympathy or admiration, she got mockery and judgment. When Pete ended up in rehab and distanced himself, Kim's pursuit of him only magnified the imbalance, and the respect she had carefully built over years seemed to slip through her fingers. That damaged reputation followed her into the Tom Brady saga. At his roast, she became the butt of cruel jokes, mocked as a ho-ho-ho in front of a live audience. Kim was reportedly so humiliated she demanded Netflix edit the worst moments out of the final broadcast. For a woman who once commanded entire news cycles on her own terms, being laughed at publicly was a new kind of low. And the worst part? Tom didn't step in to defend her. He didn't distance himself from the jokes, didn't offer a word of support. The silence spoke volumes, showing that whatever they had behind closed doors, it wasn't enough for him to put his reputation on the line for her. What makes the Sofia story sting even more for Kim is that Tom actually broke his silence to defend Sofia. In a rare move, his representatives issued a formal statement to People magazine, denying the rumor that he thought Sofia was too old for him. This wasn't some throwaway tabloid correction. This was Tom's camp going on record to make sure Sofia's name wasn't dragged through the mud. It was a direct rejection of the narrative Kim had allegedly tried to spin, and it underscored just how little he valued her in comparison. For Kim, who had once believed Tom's silence was simply his style, this denial was a brutal wake-up call. When he cares, he speaks. And in this case, he cared enough to defend Sofia, not her. Meanwhile, Sofia herself has played the situation with effortless cool. Her team brushed off the speculation, casually labeling her romance with Tom as fun but not that serious. Yet, actions speak louder than words. From their yacht outings to their European dinners, it's clear Tom is captivated by her, even if Sofia insists she's keeping things light. For Kim, this is salt in the wound, watching another woman not only capture Tom's attention, but also do so without even trying, while she herself has been accused of orchestrating elaborate schemes just to stay in the conversation. The effortless confidence Sofia projects only makes Kim's desperation look worse by comparison. The bigger problem for Kim is that her old tricks no longer work. For years, the Kardashian strategy of planting stories, controlling narratives, and leveraging tabloids kept her at the center of every conversation. But now, the cracks are showing. Instead of bending perception in her favor, the public sees through the manipulation, calling her out for being vindictive and desperate. The Sofia rumors, once exposed as likely Kardashian spin, backfired spectacularly. Instead of making Sofia look insecure, they reinforce the idea that Kim will go to any lengths to tear down her competition, a trait that feels tired in an era where audiences crave authenticity more than ever. This isn't just about Tom Brady. It's about Kim's entire post-Kanye identity. For years, she was untouchable, a cultural force who seemed to reinvent herself at will. But the choices she's made since her divorce have chipped away at that image, and the cracks are starting to widen. Every failed relationship, every forced headline, every desperate rumor only reinforces the perception that she's struggling to stay relevant. Once admired as a savvy businesswoman and fashion icon, she's increasingly seen as someone chasing clout, clinging to headlines, and losing the respect she once commanded so effortlessly. Looking back, it's hard to ignore that Kim's true golden era was during her time with Kanye. Love him or hate him, he elevated her, styled her, and positioned her as a figure larger than life. Together, they became a cultural powerhouse. But apart, their shine has dimmed. Kanye has stumbled publicly, and Kim has struggled to hold on to the prestige he once lent her. The irony is that many now believe they were only great together, not apart. And as the Tom Brady and Sofia saga unfolds, it's clear that Kim isn't just fighting Sofia for Tom's attention, she's fighting to hold onto an image that may already be slipping beyond her reach. At the end of the day, this drama isn't really about Tom Brady or Sofia Vergara. It's about Kim Kardashian grappling with the harsh reality that her power over the narrative isn't what it used to be. Once the puppet master of media perception, she's now the one caught reacting, spinning, and scrambling as the spotlight turns elsewhere. The real question isn't whether Tom and Sofia will last, it's whether Kim can ever recover the respect and influence she once commanded, or if her golden era has already passed for good.